Good morning. It's Sunday morning, the 23rd of November 2025. The month is moving on. It's cold, windy, not snow, a little bit of rain here and there. You need heat in anywhere in Ireland. Galway Wind Happy Talkers. Galway Wind Happy Talkers. This is about the collapse of the wind industry, as I long predicted. But we're going to take an overview. Now, somebody posted there about me dealing too much with world affairs. I would imagine that those world affairs affect us. So, for example, I believe that current high price of cattle is due to them processing meat in the UK for sending to the Ukrainian army, etc. I think that's the case. So it's all relative in many ways, and we just can't sit in a little bubble. But I will try and do more Irish content. Now, this is Irish, and the last piece of this directly relates to County Galway and the collapse of the wind industry. Now, this is from Recharge. It's a website on the subject. German wind turbine manufacturer files for insolvency. And don't forget, I have my dossier. It's online now at the minute. You can get it now online. I don't know who put it there. On the insolvency of Irish wind farms, last updated in 2019, and everything I said there is coming true. Now, I did 2 videos on it, and I explained it, and a few people said they couldn't believe how clear I got it done. Essentially, when you build a wind farm, you are after spending the same as if you built an oil, coal, or gas-powered or nuclear-powered power station. But the output is only 20% at best of what the oil, coal, or gas would give you. You understand? Therefore, when you go to pay back your money, you can pay back your interest on your loan, you can pay a little bit to shareholders, you can pay your expenses usually, but not always. So you'll break even with the out-of-pocket expenses, the day-to-day running of it, including interest, but you can't pay back your capital cost. You pay tax on your profit, and some of them will have a profit after they do all their normal spending, including interest. They have a profit. So then they have to pay a bit of tax on that. But you are expected to pay back your capital cost then out of the remaining profit. And they can't do it because at best wind farms have a lifespan of 21 and 22 years and their output declines. So they're going to go bankrupt. It's a Ponzi scheme. The way they were operating is you build your wind farm, you sell it. You sell it again. You sell it again. You tap into the money in people's pension funds, in government bonds and savings, anything you can get money. You get money put into this. You paint a picture that it's the new tomorrow. It's the way the things are going, and you sell on and you sell on and you sell on. Just like the Tearworker wind farm was built, the company sold it on to national toll roads, so you pay for it when you go on your motorway. It can never repay its capital cost. Okay, and it had to pay massive money to people because of the noise issue. So you get the point. I've made that clear. I think everyone understands it now. Now, this says a German wind turbine manufacturer has filed for insolvency, which would cost a regional government millions and leave 250 people unemployed. So I don't know why it would cost the government millions. We'll read on. Rostec headquarters, Eno Energy, ENO, is a niche player, but it has a wind turbines from 3.5 to 6 megawatts on offer, which it sells not only in Germany but also in France, Sweden and Poland, I'd replace that, which it tried to sell. I don't think it sold too many. The company has applied for provisional insolvency at the district courts in Rostock. Regional newspapers, Ostringking, it's a German name, OSCCC has reported, citing liquidity bottlenecks. A bottleneck. There's always a name for it, like a bottleneck. Despite many approved projects for the OGM. A wee bit of happy talk then, despite approved projects. Now, there's a big picture here of them unveiling a big turbine they made. Eno Energy could not immediately be reached by Recharge. It wouldn't answer the phone call. Its financial woes started after the important supplier of rotor blades cancelled a supply contract, leading to time-consuming reschedule of the projects, the newspaper said. So the supplier has also gone a wallop, it appears. Eno Energy in May still had closed a long-term financial deal with several regional banks that had backed by the state of, the banks gave the money and the state backed the banks, so the taxpayer is on the hook. The state of Mecklenburg, 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 Western Pomerania, never heard of that before, with guarantees worth more than 13 billion, so the taxpayer is on the hook. Regional wind groups said Germany's government new enthusiasm for fossil fuels is unsettling investors. It sure is. It sure is. And they had the COP30, ended up in a bottle of smoke. Oh, I must do a video on the menu. Oh, they had coleslaw. They had red cabbage. Oh, they had plaice. Oh, they had several exotic things. They even had that lamprey fish that Henry Date liked. They got wined and dined, and they ate and drank of the best. And there was speeches. It was like the conferences. I was in the Gardaí one time. We used to have annual conferences. Now they did some good. We got pensionability of allowances, and we got several things like that. But still, there was a lot of people came there just for the outings. And there was a woman used to love. I'll sit beside you, Val. She used to come over, and she used to have too much perfume on her. And I'll sit, and I drive in a few points on the way, and go to it and talk a bit of crack. And the next thing is. She'd demand she sit beside me, and I didn't want to be sitting beside her. What could I do? She'd organise it. But anyway, there was a lot of that eating and drinking and everything. So there was a hell of a hoolie at the COP30 this time. But they come to nothing in the end of the day. And they're going to decide, will we do this again next year? I will. So anyway, there are discussions within the federal government that are causing uncertainty. That's it. Is there any need to framework conditions are not stable in the long term? There you are. That's what I told you. We'll go from that. We'll go from that now, folks, and we go to the next one here. Ørsted shares plunge. So Ørsted is the big is it Norwegian or Swedish? Anyway, Ørsted plunge as it seeks 9.4 billion to US wind power project. So now, essentially what it's doing is, if you have shares in Ørsted, the shares have plunged. They're going to issue new shares. Now, I have identified this, and I covered it on my course once, and I know this happened. This makes a complete hoax of any shares. If I bought shares, let's say in Kingspan, you pay big money, 45 euros a piece, and I have 100 of them. There's only a limited number of shares there altogether. There might be just maybe 500,000, I will say 300,000 shares. Say that's the case, don't hold me on that. By right, I own that share of the company. But they can come along and issue a new issue, leaving you with your original share, and issue a new issue to try and save it. And that dilutes the quality of your share. This is something which isn't posted anywhere, and I know a person it happened to. Anyway, shares in Ørsted plunged to a record low on Monday. Now, the date of this is, well, let's see, can I get you the date? Yeah, it's April the 11th, 25, right? So it's a wee bit out of date, but not too much. Fund, as US President Donald Trump hostility to wind power. So you can't stick it has to get a push on the back by the politicians all the way. The 60 billion, 9.4 billion euros, $9.4 billion rights issue, a load of crap, looking for money, please, rights issue, is worth around half of the Danish company's market value on the Friday's close. So if they got that money, 9.4 billion, the share price would have, because more people have a say in the company, which is going downhill. They can't get money. And it's the same with Green Coat Renewables. It was on 69 cents yesterday. I didn't look at it today. They're in an extraordinary situation. Adverse market developments in the US on top of the past microeconomic food change. So, and Trump campaign to promise an end to offshore wind industry. And then they build these. Who's going to take them down? What are the effects on the marine life? Trump sees through it a mile away. He's an old dealer wheeler. You see a scam 100 miles away. So they were going to do the same. They were going to be the big fellas, Ørsted, and they're in big trouble as well. It's not only that. They want the government grants as well. It's not only to get the license to put it on the shore, it's to get the cost billed on the consumer. And it's well now proven and accepted that as you increase more renewable energy, you have higher bills. As simple as that. Why? Because one of them is a passenger. One of them is not providing anything. Now, here's another one here. Dutch onshore wind, and I'm coming to Ireland, don't switch off. Dutch onshore wind turbine manufacturer EWT declared bankrupt. Dutch onshore wind turbine maker Energia Wind Technologies has declared bankrupt last week. The cat's up here now. EWT with office in Amersfoort is known for its medium-sized onshore wind turbines. The company originated in 2004 as a relaunch of Lagawigi initial whatever. It was 700. Yeah, they had two. The focus was on 750 kilowatt and 900 kilowatt direct drive wind turbines. Later, 500 kilowatts and 250 kilo wind turbines were added. In 2019 and 17, ETW launched a 1 megawatt turbine. So these were all small turbines. You need planning permission for them in Ireland, but you don't need an EIA. They're considered small. But I know one was up on the Loughnane Mountain beside me here, and it was forced to be taken down. So it was forced to be taken down. So right. So now that's it. Financial setback. 2018 became into the hands of a consortium led by oil billionaire. Oil billionaire Marcel van Pook. Despite this, however, EWT has been struggling with financial setbacks for years. So this oil billionaire made his money with oil, and he gets a guilty conscience and he decides to buy it, but he hasn't been able to save it. Okay, that's another one. We'll not go into the gory details. I'll go to the next one. This article is PETEA, Sweden's largest wind farm. Mark Biden, ET, outside Pietas in Norrbotten is facing bankruptcy. The Swedish tax agency opposes the reconstruction of the Chinese-owned company that has financial problems with several years, writes Duggan's Industry. 530 million euros is the amount of what they're bankrupt for. The reason for the financial problems is a long-term contract with the Norwegian industry group Hydro for deliveries until 2040. In the current market situation, the contract means that Market Biden is selling electricity at a loss. Hydro is not interested in negotiating a contract. So they can't sell it at enough to make a profit. Do you understand me? Because the hydro is efficient. Hydropower, river power, is very efficient, but it destroys salmon and trout. Okay, we leave that. Now, this one is reported in the Irish Farmers Journal behind a paywall, the Irish Farmers Journal, and this is about Ireland. C&F Group shuts wind turbine business after being hit by tariff issues and red tape in Japan. Now, I did a business studies course, and you do a thing called a SWOT analysis. You're supposed to check all those things before you invest, before you take investors' money. Isn't that right, Douche? Is that right? Huh? What do you think? You wouldn't go and invest in someone without checking out, would you? No, say hello, wave your hand, wave here. Anyway, Athenry businessman John Flaherty, C&F's group, has shut down a wind turbine manufacturing division of the business, the Irish Independent has learned. There will be no job losses associated with the surprising move. Not one bloody bit surprising. It's not surprising. They're all going to go wallop. You lose your shirt on it. Right? There will be no job losses in the surprising move. Between 15 and 20 employees who worked in the division will be absorbed by other group companies. Well, fair enough. If there are other groups, what are they? I don't know. Anyone want to post underneath? However, it could see up to 30 million that Mr. Flaherty invested to manufacture small wind turbines. He put 30 million. Imagine if you gave me 30 million and let me off. I'd build a building, surely, like the kind of business park building. I'd come up with something that it wouldn't be a total loss. I'd put a few machine tools in it and get a few fellas to weld up and do something. Anyway, 30 million gone, Mr. Flaherty. Here he is. I'll show you his picture here. Okay. So, Not easy taking a hit of that, sure. It must be the banks takes it, right? Now, small turbine manufacturer. Now, CNF Group has a strong believer. It was a strong believer in the benefits of wind energy. Proving you're a bloody idiot, Mr. Flaherty. You're a nass, a donkey. I'm 20 years pointing out that wind energy is a scam. A scam, S-C-A-M, and President Donald Trump of America sees the same. You have to keep selling it on. It's a Ponzi scheme. You have to sell the company on and on. But this is more for the home market. This is more for one. Now, however, it could see now. CNF Group has been a strong believer in the benefits of wind energy. Off you go now and see where it got you. Energy, and has invested heavily to develop sustainable Irish small business, he said. There's no wind 80% of the time, and you have to have 35% of the grid fossil fuel before you can accommodate the wind at all. However, we have been forced to conclude. You've been forced. It wasn't RTE did it, or BBC, or the minister, or any of the ministers. No. It was a farmer with cows that told you. We've been forced to conclude as a result of political and regulatory inaction. By whom? I think it's the Japanese he's on about. He wants to tell the Japanese what to do, so they can tell the Irish what to do. The wind industry could walk into Eamon Ryan as Minister for Energy and get anything they wanted. As a result of political and regulatory inaction in our foreign markets. Blame the chaps. They give a damn about a lad from Galway after having a fallout with China over Taiwan. In our foreign, this business is no longer sustainable. I'll spell it for you, folks. Sustainable is no longer sustainable in the circumstances. In what circumstances? Your old baloney has been spotted. It has come up against the reality of the marketplace, just as the Ukrainians and the EU have come up against the reality of war. The broader CNF Group will no longer continue to fund it. So even the group, he must have other companies, they're not going to fund this at all. Mr. Flaherty said Irish turbine owners not being able to sell electricity to the grid also impacted. So he wants you pop a wee windmill, you sell it into the grid, if there's a bit of power going in, you get paid for it. What is the effect? What can the grid do with it? With thousands of these all over the country, what good are they? Can they switch off their fossil fuel? No. They've copped on to how stupid the contribution from a Mickey Mouse turbine would be on the grid to run a welder or anything else. Okay? Mr. Flaherty said Irish turbine owners are not being able to sell electricity to the grid was an impact on sales. So blame somebody else. Now, the big wind farms, they get the thing and they shouldn't get it either. That's what's driving up the cost of electricity. The state will continue. Unfortunately, there has been worldwide lack of appetite for sustainable feed-in tariffs for small wind. Worldwide, because they know it's absolutely no use. It's a charity he wants. And the wind turbine associations have suggested that the charter organisations, St Vincent de Paul, etc., that they pick up the fact that 25% of the Irish people can't pay their bills. And they want the charitable organisations, you go into mass, you pay a little bit. And they want you to be paying for wind turbines. Regulatory delays are affecting the sustainability of the business after receiving thousands of site approvals for our turbines. This is in Japan, leading to hundreds of customers' orders in the Japanese market. Just shows you there's fools there as well. The CNF trading certificate was temporarily closed by the Japanese regulatory authority due to an installation issue in Japan. He doesn't say what that is. Now, there's an article in the Irish Farmers Journal. We'll just see what it says. Farmers' wind turbines to be maintained after manufacturer closes. So there is a bit of maintenance still. I don't know where the parts and that's going to come. We'll read it anyway. And there's only a little bit here at the paywall. A liquidator was appointed at a meeting of creditors. So this crowd is owed money. Meeting of creditors on Friday to manage closure of Athenry, County Galway based wind turbine manufacturer CNF Green Energy, County Galway. Farmer Padraig Fahey told the Irish Farmers Journal that he joined a committee to represent 180 creditors and liaise. So how are the creditors? I wonder how are the creditors. It's behind a paywall. I'm not going to subscribe. But apparently the company I've mentioned there is making wind turbines, small type wind turbines. Not small now, big enough, but just one-off ones on that. And they're making them. Now, apparently they have a bit of stuff in stock, but how long will that last? Now, maybe somebody would do a wee bit of review underneath, and some of you are very good, and post me, what's the story with these now? Will you be able to get parts for them? I'm beside Rah Wind Farm, and every weekday there's a van up there. I rarely ever see there's not some maintenance van. It doesn't come less than 2,000 a day for the maintenance that's going on up there. These things break like the devil, and they're always cracking and funny noises over them. And the ones over in Gartnan and Bale, where there's oil running down the stem, the pillar. So will they be able to get parts? I don't know. I hope not. I hope they're shut down. And then you're left with this big concrete base and all that money spent. And one of the things about all these Irish people that get caught, I love to say, wouldn't your heart bleed for them? Well, they could cry. He lost 30 million. I'm so emotional, folks. I'm so emotional. The devil rub it up, you just dirty hooers. The devil rub it up, you. That just may be eaten out of bins, what you've done to the Irish people with your blasted, stupid wind energy. There's a couple in Wexford and it broke their marriage. They're awarded 300,000 and some of the windmills have to be removed. Nobody had any sympathy. Most Irish people had no sympathy. Most politicians had no sympathy. Raymond Byrne and Laura Moorhead, there were a couple. Makes them have a historic moment. They must have had to put 200,000 euros on the line with costs. This was not an EIA or a European law thing. They must have had to put that. And they won. But imagine if they had lost. The court awarded the first plaintiff 120,000 euros and the second plaintiff 180,000 euros. I think the second plaintiff is the lady in it. They're right to give her a bit more. A wee bit more. You know the way women are about their homes and everything. You come and you take that away from them. In general damages, with additional sums of 24,000 and 36,000 respectively for aggravated damages. So that's the story there. But I'm just looking there, and I'll quit now. I saw there is something online about in other parts of the world where they're putting the wee wind turbines up on the chimneys and the neighbours are complaining. If you have a terrace house or a nearby house and it puts up a small wind turbine, the noise is outrageous. I had one here. Outrageous. There'd be a whistle of it and a noise of it. It's unbelievable. Anyhow, folks, it's great news. So happy. Thank God. Let's destroy this decrepit, dirty, rotten, evil industry. Let's destroy it and let's take great value out of it and let it do our hearts good and have a little top of whiskey for the Christmas to celebrate their demise. And if I had nothing else on my YouTube channel, just to be able to do that, thank God for having the health to be able to see these crowd destroyed, and their damned EU rascals with them. And the Green Party will have to go up in the next election and put that Rodrigo government out of there, door to door. We'll see you back, folks. Comment underneath. Go to hell, you crowded villains. Good luck.